Well, hey, Wellspring, super excited for today. I have the honor and the privilege to be hosting the myths, the legends themselves. If you haven't met these two, I'm sorry. You just haven't met them. So this is Pastor Joey Adkins. If you haven't met him, you've been coming to Wellspring, this is your lead pastor.
I'm not usually out that much. I'm sure they've seen me in the last 2 weeks.
You never know. Pastor Joey Adkins, and then his best friend, Pastor Josh from the Cape.
The Cape.
The Cape. And so they've been best friends for how long?
24?
Come on, look at that. Years. They're like a married couple. They know they had to look at each other, confirm.
Now Wellspring may not know me because my best friend has yet to have me preach at his church.
Let's count up all the services you've preached.
When was the last time you preached in Massachusetts for me? It's been since after I came here.
So you got that? It's been since the after. It's been
I'm just gonna let you know.
I want you to understand
I'm
is you have preached at Harbor more recently than I have preached at Wellspring. That's
if
the
you're
truth.
Gonna lie, figure out the lie.
How is that a lie? How is that a lie? How is that a lie?
2018?
Was that it? When I preached for you?
I mean,
you preached for me.
That was 6 years ago.
I think my 10-year-old daughter wasn't born yet the last time I preached for you. So
Luke was
everybody. If I asked everybody at Wellspring,
3. Luke was probably 3.
Everybody at Wellspring would be like, "Oh, Wes Beecham's Pastor Joey's best friend," and then this guy we've never seen or never really met. This
Wes
mythical,
has never preached on a Sunday.
Well, listen, I don't want to go there. I just want to go with the fact. I just want to go with the fact that everybody knows him. Nobody knows me. Now I got to be more present. I do live 2,000 miles away.
Year and a half, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, as you can already see, this bickering is the proof of a loving and long friendship. I've learned that, and so super excited for today because we're going to be talking about a topic that I believe most men we just don't talk about, and that's just how do you have long, meaningful friendships with men? Like how can you be raw, open, honest, and even challenging and convicting a brother without losing your brother? So how can we have real conversations that are enough to be honest, that actually do slice and dice us? That does, because as the word Proverbs says, iron sharpening iron. That's not oh, it's so pretty. No, that's sparks. That's fire. That's hot. There's banging
friction.
to it. There's friction to it. And so how can we be iron sharpening iron and not iron trying to deal with clay? We are not. You're not trying to mold him into the image that you want Josh, and you're not trying to mold him into the image that you want Joey to be. How can I? No, Lord, you've created that person for something, and I have the honor to be the other friction for whether 100 years of this place or 20 years or 5 years, however long the Lord has a connection, the friendship. How do we deal with that? So, one, you guys briefly talked about, your friendships here and stuff like that. So how about very quickly, you share where you met, you share how you met, and I did this to you, but now that he's here, I'm going to do this. Give me one very quick, funny story of something that you guys did to the other person. Okay? So how did you meet first? So how'd you meet?
It's a basketball game. We met playing basketball.
Yeah. That's probably the shortest way to say it.
Missouri?
Yeah.
We went to Bible College in Springfield, Missouri.
Yep.
Neither of us were from there, but we just happened to meet two East Coast boys, just Northeast and Southeast, meeting in Missouri of all
very
places.
different cultures.
and both of us come from very different backgrounds. Very different family structures, very different. So not to get ahead, but the fact that we became best friends didn't make sense on paper.
Right.
Yeah. That would. It's not. We would not have picked each other going into that. It's like, this is a guy I'm going to go my way.
So what was the connection point? I know basketball, but there's always more than basketball.
I think there was a moment. Was it our freshman year? Was it our freshman year where we had to come back?
Yeah, that's we talked about
Christmas break when everybody else was gone. I think nobody else was there.
I think that was the.
I think that cemented it too. That's what I said. I said we started playing ball together in September. And we knew all the guys on the team, but then we just really started hanging out when the campus was empty and only the basketball players were back. They left a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-old guys with all these hours and no supervision. And we got into a lot of fun.
20-plus years ago, they would give you like $20 or $30 a day.
My God.
And we could do a lot.
Yeah. He talked about pooling everything.
We'd pull our money and then go bowling and then do something stupid.
Yeah, there's a lot you could do.
All right, so instead of saying What is one thing, because you're way past that. You can't, your grades, your degree can't be removed from you. What is one dumb thing you did during that time? One thing during the one dumb thing that just comes to your mind during that, because you said you got in trouble and things, but it was during that Christmas time you guys came back. What was one thing funny, if you can share? I mean, I don't want to have to close Wellspring and Harbor.
I think the first thing that I would say is, we were immature 20-year-olds.
Yeah,
and so there's 100%, a lot that
I think we might be immature 40-year-olds.
Yeah,
so
just
let's just be honest.
But there is a little bit more of a filter at 43 than there was at 22.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. I guess, not to get real deep into the pool, I think there was some spiritual moments that I think we missed in not only our lives but other friends. I also think we were mean to people. I think probably there's some sadness in my spirit that we probably used and abused.
People. We had an ego. I mean, we were young and on the ball team, and we were pretty well known. We were outgoing, and everything was going right for us. So your arrogance takes over, and you begin to think that everything you think is right.
I was also very mean to his girlfriends. So Josh was very so April and I came to college dating. We got married after our freshman year, and there was some pros and cons to that, right? And then Josh he did it. So he dated, and again, we joke a lot, but he dated a lot of girls at college, and most of them did not like me, and I did not help him in that. And
you didn't add any good.
I was not. I honestly, I was not a good friend. I
made it very difficult for double dates. Let's just be honest.
I don't even know if we did any double dates. I don't.
You probably did too, and we're like, I'm not doing that again.
I genuinely would say that he was looking out for me. They were probably jealous of the relationship I had for Joey.
Probably in a twisted way.
It was a fun way for him to torment me.
Yeah, I mean,
making me pick between my best friend and whatever girl I was dating at the time.
I mean, the best times were we all worked together. And at one season, I joke, but he probably dated, and again, not serious dating, but he was in college and he was single, and he has every right to be
19.
He has every right to date. But he probably dated, I don't know, 10 girls, maybe 10 girls.
My wife might listen to this.
Let's skip past.
But my point is, there was one girl that we worked together, so we would drive to work together, and it was across town, and it was.
It was a 20-minute drive.
And that was
awkward.
Oh, I was not nice. I mean,
you could cut the tension in that car ride with a knife. This is awesome.
You're like, all right. So let's dig in. We've heard some of the stories, some of the funny things, but I want to ask this question: what, in your opinions, why is it so difficult for men to have the phrase that I felt like the Lord gave me was meaningful friendships?
I think the first thing you've got to do, I think a person has to desire it. And I can remember growing up, and I don't know. Again, we had very different backgrounds. He grew up in a ministry family. I grew up, my dad wasn't saved. Praise the Lord, got saved years later. But so my dad never went to church. My mom raised us in church. She still is the most godly woman I know. So we had very different backgrounds. But I knew going into BBC, I knew that I desired lifelong friendships. I knew that I wanted that. I knew that was. I didn't have a dad in my life that kept me spiritually accountable. So I knew I needed that. I think the first thing that I would tell everybody who's listening is you have to first desire it. You have to first want it, and what you seek, you will find. And if it's something that you want, if it's something that you're desiring, if it's something you're hopeful for. 9 times out of 10, you will find that person. I mean, that's what I would say. I mean, you have to want it. You have to desire it. It has to be a priority to you, because especially the older that you get, and again, not everybody's a college student listening to this podcast. So, if you're in your 40s, 50s, and you're working a 40, 50-hour week job, it's a lot harder to want to do that. And so I would just say take advantage of every opportunity that you have to find some godly men in your life that you allow in.
I don't know that I had the same view as you did, Joey. I'm sorry. I didn't go to Bible college like that. I come from a ministry family. My dad being a pastor, pastors, you don't have friends. You don't have close friends. You have you're friendly with everybody. But if you allow somebody to be your friend, you've now made yourself vulnerable.
Right.
And in our line of work, vulnerability for a pastor is a death sentence. Somebody finds out something that's not great about you, then like they use it against you. Now you lose your job or whatever. And so, and I'm not even talking about like, I mean, the world we came from, which is a very conservative Christian world.
You watched a PG-13
like you went
movie.
to the movie theater, you know, whatever. Your wife was wearing pants. Like, you know, like,
she wore makeup.
I mean, but that's the thing. How much of like I felt like how much of the real you have to hide, so you don't get in trouble. Well, if you have to hide the real you, then you can't really have friends. And I think where Joey was craving it, I wasn't. I looked at friendships as politics. Like church friends are, you know, in the church world, those are just people that help you move along. And so, like I wasn't looking for church friends, Christian friends. It just so happened I met this guy from outside of Tampa somewhere who didn't know what snow was, and
or what a window air conditioning unit was. I didn't realize what one of those were till my freshman year of college. I'm like, what is this thing you're sticking in the window? Like, doesn't air come from the ceiling? I literally had no idea.
From the ceiling.
I had no idea.
I just it blew me away when these guys like him and Wes and some of these and like Dave and some of these other guys from Florida that all came up to Missouri. The first like really bad snowstorm we got, they're like, "What the heck?" And I'm sitting there going, "This isn't even all it could be, guys." And they're like, "You guys have jackets?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what coats are made for."
They're actually not meant for style.
In our conservative, I thought a jacket was something that a pastor wore in church.
Like a sports coat.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
So me having friends was totally different. Joey was not like I was not looking for that, and the fact that he didn't care if I let my hair down, he didn't care about the things that were not pastoral about me. Was probably the thing that immediately drew my heart to him, because I was like, he's not going to rat me out. He's not going to talk about me behind my back. He's not going to hold this against me that I'm not perfect. And that was like such a refreshing thing that it caught me off guard. And I think that's what bonded us. And we've man, I mean, we've been thicker than thieves for 24 years.
And I think it takes intentionality too. So 24 years later, you know, we're 2,000 miles away. And again,
how many guys from college do we not talk to anymore?
Correct. Right. And again, how many guys do we? I mean, not to throw. What do you throw wood on a fire? Whatever the terminology is like there's a lot of guys that aren't in ministry anymore. There's a lot of guys that aren't married anymore.
A lot of guys that probably aren't following Jesus anymore.
I think I'm in the
A couple
game.
of them are in jail.
Yeah. Wow. I think I'm in jail. Not in jail. I think I'm in this. I'm in the fight still. Because of the people. And I think it takes intentionality. I mean, although we're the same age, you know, we're very different. Our families are at very different seasons. I mean, I've got a 21-year-old who's on staff at the church that I pastor.
What?
And Annabelle's, how old's Annabelle?
10.
10. And Luke is 7. I mean, my youngest are 14. So we're very different. And so I'm going, hey, why don't you just come down? He's like,
that's because you got married your freshman year. And I dated for the next 10.
Yeah. And you dated Kaylee later on in life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was 28 when I got married.
Maybe that's a good
18,
thing.
Right?
I was 20.
Oh, 20.
April was 19. Dakota, I was 21. April was 20.
Yeah, he has Dakota while we're in school.
Right.
To his point, I'm dating around. I'm being stupid. I'm like this young dumb guy, and my best friend has a kid.
Yeah, but he was great. I mean, there was a lot of times where we had classes not on the same time, and you know, you and Lance and Wes and everybody would come over and watch Dakota. I remember taking Dakota to our class, and we'd come in the back door. Remember Howard's class in Romans? We'd come out the back door, and I was like, "Do not cry." Please, you stinking kid, do not cry. But we were right next to the door if we had to jump out.
So again, what we're hearing is you've hit it. It takes intentionality. It takes sacrifice. It takes communication. It takes honesty. It takes vulnerability. And so to have a meaningful friendship, it sounds like it's not easy. It's not something that just appears. Like, I'm gonna choose you. It's not Pokemon. Like, I choose you, and now you're gonna be my best friend.
I mean, we don't naturally. I don't naturally get up in the morning and think I need to call Josh.
Right.
Yeah. You know, there has to be. So what we've decided to do, I don't know if we're jumping ahead.
No,
one of the things that we've decided to do, me, you, and Wes, is to plan at least one trip a year. And there's a couple things. Like, this wasn't necessarily planned in the agenda. And, you know, again.
Yeah, extras are nice, too.
So we're obviously, as we're filming this, we're in Florida. And October of 2024, and Wes lives, you know, an hour and a half away, and he knew Josh was going to be down there, so Wes came over and played golf with us on Thursday. So, but we try to do one trip a year. So every year we either go up to. So this year we went to you. We go up to Mass. It's always golf and food and hang time and talk, and then the opposite year he'll come to us. So it just so happens he's in Massachusetts. We're in Orlando. So I think just like I would say, and I'm getting ready to preach, and one of the points I'm going to make is don't feel too much. Don't over spiritualize.
We're struggling today, bro.
Yeah, we are. Don't over spiritualize whatever God's calling you to do that you can't just put on the calendar. And so I think for us, just throwing it on the calendar and saying, hey, this is the trip we're going to do. This is the moment we're going to do it. And I think it's helped. I think doing that.
Yeah, and I think what makes those times valuable, you use the word meaningful. It's not meaningful for me. I only get to spend a couple of days a year with my friends. And they only get to spend a couple with me. Now, we talk and text and whatever. But there's something about seeing each other, seeing your family, seeing like, okay, what's going on? And what happens is it exposes, when you get around, it exposes the things about you that are not healthy. And somebody who truly knows you can look at you and spend a couple hours with you and go, hey, man, something's wrong. Hey, like the way I heard you talking to your kids, something's wrong there. Now I can BS Joey and Wes from 1,000 miles away and be like, I'm fine, everything's good. But if they come and they're in my life and they get nosy, which as my best friends, they have the right to be nosy. Like I've given them that, but that's that vulnerability piece. Then the meaningful part comes because now the value is added where they don't pat me on the back and go, yeah, Josh, that's great. Like even me teasing him, like him and Wes can come bust my chops. My staff can't bust my chops like that. Like I'm their boss. And like there's things I can tell him that you can't tell him. And he needs that in his life. And we have wives, and our wives will tell us absolutely what's wrong. But we also need a male perspective that will say something that maybe we wouldn't hear from our wives or that we would hear differently from our wives. And that's not just vulnerability, that's like an access. And if you don't grant anybody access, or better yet, even if somebody loves you enough to be like, man, I want to challenge you to do something better. If you don't trust them enough, and maybe Joey, I don't know how you feel. If you didn't trust me, and if I didn't trust you, for you to tell me that there's something you don't like about my life, I'd be like, go pound sand, bro. Like, who are you?
Buzz off.
I think 3 years ago, you know, we were together, and I'll never forget it. And we got done. You called me, and you said, and again, we don't have to share all the details, but I remember you said something to me. And it was that moment of you love me through all my faults, all my issues, all my struggles. It hurt. That you called me out. It hurt. It hurt because I wanted to defend why I was that way. But it was that pivotal moment that actually changed a massive blind spot in my life. And I just think there's been countless times where I've needed your voice into my life to help me stretch to be the man that God's called me to be. And I don't know if a staff member or my kids or even my wife could do that. I needed somebody that just know me at a different level.
And that's a critical part of it. And me is like, that's the meaningfulness of it. Like I have a bunch of acquaintances, a bunch of people that know about me, but who really knows me? You know, I heard this and I can't think of who said it, but it challenged me was, how many people do you have that you can call if like you really, really need help, right? And he's like, you know, man, all of us, you'll probably think of 3 people. Okay, I have 3 people that I could call right now if I was in some serious crap. Hey, I got something in the back of my car. I need, you know, like so just something crazy, right? And he goes one layer deep. He's like, now, how many of you have someone that you can call when something went really good and you just wanted to praise with someone, where you didn't feel guilt, you didn't feel prideful, but where you could say, hey, this went really well. Will you celebrate with me? Will you celebrate what just happened? Because we'll talk about the negative. Oh, I need help. I need people to be in my corner back to back. The Ecclesiastes, I need this. But then also it's like, do we have anyone that's like celebrates with us?
And that's excited for us.
Yeah, and that's probably in my world, I can struggle at wanting to celebrate with people because I feel prideful. When in reality, that's the thing I got to deal with. I got to deal with being like, No, I can celebrate when things are doing good. I can celebrate. Like, I want to be real and honest. Like, this is not prideful of me. Hey, man, I just want to, can you just celebrate with me and hear God's goodness, man? And like, be that way. So I have a couple questions, then we'll close out. And this could go a little longer, but I'm going to try to condense it. One of the questions is if you guys have known each other for so long, you've gone through so much stuff, the ups and downs, the dating, you've corrected, whatever it is. How do you manage having a friend that you have known for years and you have seen them walk in sin, but also walk in Jesus, fail and succeed? How do you manage knowing someone for so long and not holding them in that same spot where you could have control over them and actually allowing them to like be the person God has for them? Because you've known him for 24 years.
I don't see him as the pastor of Harbor Church. I don't even see him as Kaylee's husband.
Yeah.
I don't see him as the dad to Annabelle and Luke.
Yeah.
I just see him as Josh. So what's interesting is all three of us, me, him, and Wes, we all have different sized churches.
Yeah.
So when I look at him, I don't see him as the pastor of the X amount of people or X amount of campuses he has. And I know he doesn't do the same thing with me. And so we instantly have to drop our pride that we're not here because of the position that we hold. We're here because of the value that we have in each other's life. I think that's how you know it's a true friend. That's how. So when we're sitting across, having dinner when we're together, and he tells me he's got X amount of this in small groups, and Wes says I've got this amount, and I say I've got this amount. We're not one-upping each other. This isn't a who's got a prettier wife and who's got the highest salary and who's got the best car. That's not what it.
So how do you get there? Because most men battle with that. Most men are in the competitive spirit. So how do you get to the space of being able to have a conversation in that way of like, hey man, it's the celebration. Bro, you're making 150 G's? Bro, that's amazing. I'm making 40. Yep. Man, how can you so how do you get to that spot in your position of a soul?
That's good.
That makes sense.
I think that we have the advantage, and I know this isn't very hopeful for somebody who currently doesn't have friends and wants friends, but we have the advantage to what Joey's saying is we were Josh and Wes and Joey before we were Pastor Josh, Pastor Wes, Pastor Joey, which means that I know that if you're friends with me, it's not because you're getting something out of me.
Yeah.
And I can't say his name, but he's a very, very high profile pastor in America. And he's very famous. And he told me that the guys that he really feels comfortable with are his friends from before his church exploded. Because now it feels like everybody kind of low grade wants a piece of him because he's famous.
Right.
And I can't imagine what that's like. And not that we're famous, but like once you start pastoring a church,
we're so far from famous.
Yes. But once you start getting on a stage, people want a piece of you.
Yeah.
And then you have to wonder, like, do you like me because of me, or is it because you want something from me, or you have something? So I know that Joey liked me, or we were friends long before I had anything of value to give back to him other than my friendship.
Right.
So that allows me to trust. Like I don't need to change that Joey. It's okay if that Joey has struggles. Because I know that our friendship was not based on him taking something from me, just the fact that we're friends. Yeah. So I don't have to get upset or sad or whatever the emotion would be if he's having a struggle or if he's going down. My love for him is, man, I want to see God's best in your life. And he's not the same Joey. Yeah. And to your point, I shouldn't be the same. We shouldn't be the same.
Yeah. Right.
And that's hard because we were a lot more fun. But we were also a lot more immature, and we didn't have the responsibilities we have. So we should be different.
Right.
And I need to allow God to work in Joey's life, not what Josh wants for
And
Joey.
I would say this, and I know we only have like 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say. And I used to do this. We've got some famous pastors in the network that we connect with, and their names don't matter. But even over the last 5 or 6 years, I have admired them because I'm like, man, that's what I want. That's what I desire. And I would just say to everybody who's listening, don't compare your friendships to Josh and I's friendships. That you're going to get in a really dangerous place if you do that. God's put the right person in your life, the right people in your life for the season that you're in. Just be grateful that they are who God's called to be in your life. Like don't compare. I think comparison is the devil's playground.
Yes, and I think a lot of people, again, there's people that are watching that don't have any friends. And they're like, well, how do I just, no one ever understands me. It's like, well, how about this? if you've lost 10 girlfriends, just as a context, and
why do you look at you?
He
looked at you.
Well, because you've dated April since middle school, right? And so you've had one, right?
When you find the right one, you stop.
Just stay. Hold the line. And the reality,
if he got somebody that would put up with him, hold on to that.
Hold on to it.
It's true.
And so like if you might realize, like, we, again, coming back to our one of our episodes prior, is like, take responsibility. It might be you. You might be prideful. You might be unwilling to be vulnerable. You might be the jerk in the friendship, Let's figure it out. Like, do the self-reflection and see, man, wait a minute, maybe I need to deal with some things within me, And so as we just roll out, I wanted to encourage everyone, man, like, there are people out there. Be vulnerable, be honest. You can have long and meaningful friendships. You truly can. But it takes us as men to look for it, to take initiative, to be honest.
Be bold.
Yes.
Be bold. Like, everybody's waiting for somebody to come to them.
Yes.
No, you be the initiator, because they're waiting for you.
You said something that last night was, when you're carrying a brother, it's not a burden.
Yeah.
And that is so critical. It's in Galatians as well. Like, those who are strong carry the heavy. Like, and I just want to remind, wherever you are, you might be weak right now, there is a brother that can hold you up. Or maybe you're strong right now. Find someone that you can hold up.
God's got somebody.
Yeah, 100%. So, hey, thank you for being honest, vulnerable, sharing. I know we didn't have a ton of time, but thank you for just talking about meaningful friendships.
Yep.
It's huge for me.
Yep.
Like, friendships are, So, I mean it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us.
I love you guys. Wellspring.
And let's end by just saying, I'm the better looking friend.
Well, then I'm the better preacher.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, his beard is better.
His beard is better.
Yeah, he should try to grow it out. We should watch that. I mean, your son has a great beard.
That's true. How does he get all the testosterone?
I just shave all mine.
Yeah, I just shave all my testosterone.
At one point, we got to tell the why I shaved my head story in college.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's for another one.
But hey, we love you guys, Wellspring. Thank you so much for joining us here. We're excited to continue with our Warrior Conference. Have a blessed day.